Wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center Outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Think you know Dex Imaging? Think again. In the office, streamlining communications. In the field, delivering top-notch service, enhancing productivity and reducing downtime. In the data center, a part of the growing digital document revolution. In the world of business, supporting entrepreneurs and helping companies grow. In the forefront of technology, developing cutting-edge document management solutions. So if you think you know Dex Imaging, you don't know Dex.
September 21st. September 21st. Why do I keep repeating September 21st? Because that's when the Ocala residents have the privilege of helping determine how Ocala is governed. By voting, Ocala residents then have a voice in local issues. Every vote matters. Voting is a privilege. It's also your responsibility. If you don't vote, you give up the right to complain about the outcome. So what are you going to be doing on September 21st? You're going to go out and vote September 21st.
Now you've done it. Have you lost your mind? He's back. And you're listening again. A legend in his own mind. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Here's Tom Schmitz live on WOCA. The Source.
Welcome back. Hour number 3, well underway here at Ocala Talks. And, this is a situation, a subject that it's a little touchy. It's about a candidate, and I have confirmation now of some things. So I think it's my duty as a media member to tell people. Susan Schmitz is here with me. 12 years ago, there was a incident when a 23-year-old Ty Schlichter went to a bar here in town. It was called Dr. B's. There's a police report. You can get public record. You can get the police report. And he got an altercation with a bartender. Threw a drink on the bartender. He was subsequently asked to leave by a bouncer. An altercation took place where there was some roughhousing going with the bouncer. The bouncer, according to the police report, put him in some type of a headlock where Ty Schlichter then bit the bouncer in his side. According to the police report that was filed with Ocala Police Department. Mm-hmm. Then he was subsequently taken out the front door where he threw a stool at the said bouncer that he'd already bitten. All this led to him being arrested, fingerprinted, mugshotted, and charged with misdemeanor battery. And I would say that he gets a pass because he was 23.
Well, yeah, it was 12 years ago.
And if you want to know what I did at 23,
right.
I never bit anybody. I never threw a drink in a girl's face, a bartender, and I assume it was a girl at Dr. B's because that's all I've ever seen. It's now First and Last Tab, but that's all I've ever seen work. There's girls behind the bar. Mm-hmm. In my 15, 18 years of being here, that's all I've ever seen behind the bar.
Right.
So I assume it was a girl. It may not have been, but I assume it was.
Right.
So if it was, but he was 23, yeah, I got a problem with throwing a drink in a girl's face, whether you're 23, 33, 43, 13, doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Biting somebody.
I mean,
I was a bouncer for a very long time.
Right.
You bite me, we probably ain't making a police report. Okay? You bite me, you hit me with a stool, there's probably a charge being filed, but probably against me, not the person that bit me or threw a stool at me. That's just me.
Right.
But so I know a little bit about the bar business and everything. I worked in a very long time restaurant bar business. I was a bouncer. I was head of security at some very exclusive nightclubs in the Atlanta area and the Savannah area. Mm-hmm. So I know a little bit about how this is handled. But he was 23.
He was. I think everybody has something in their past that they're not proud of. But you
I got a whole house full of stuff in my past I'm not proud of.
Right, but you learn
mature.
from it. You mature.
And you learn. And this young man's got children now. He's got a wife and everything. Mm-hmm. So I'd be willing to give him a pass on something that happened 12 years ago, because a mailer come out yesterday with his mug shot on it and blah, blah, blah. You know, do you want to be this to your city councilman and all? From an incident that was 12 years old when he was 23 years old, okay? So wasn't that big a deal. But then a citizen reached out to me and told me a story. And then she substantiated what she said with me by she went and filed an order of no contact because she feels scared. And it stemmed from an incident last week where she put something on Facebook. And Mr. Schlichter went to her house to confront her about it. And so subsequently she was scared enough about it, and she wants to remain. It's filed with the process server's already served it. It'll get filed with OPD, become public record. But so she wants to, until that comes out, she, no name.
Right.
But she said the paperwork was handed to him at 7:30 p.m. last night. With the mailer coming out, and then the processor came to his home. Processor came to her home, showed her where he'd served the process to Ty Schlichter and everything, an order of not an order of protection, but like a restraining order or a don't come on my property again restraining order, no trespass type order against Ty Schlichter for an angry outburst where he went to her home to the point where her husband physically had to say, either you leave or we're going to have a problem. Is what she told me happened, and that's what they put in the order that they filed with the clerk of the court. That wasn't 12 years ago.
That was last week.
That was last week.
How inappropriate is that?
And
if
I
we're
was
going for city council, just like the lady that accosted you yesterday. She started to walk up on our yard, and you're like, I'm about ready to call Marion County.
Yeah.
And you weren't going to be abusive. You're just saying
either leave my yard or I'm calling the cops.
And you're going to get trespass.
So, but I know for a fact, I have a very good friend that the same thing happened to her.
Same thing happened
by
to
the
her.
same guy.
With it 2 months ago?
No.
In the same couple
week and
weeks
a half
ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
yeah.
Over a Facebook post. If you get that angry to where you go to people's houses and scare them to the point where they have to take protection orders out against you.
Yeah, you're still a hothead.
I mean, that now all of a sudden, I don't think I give you a pass on what happened 12 years ago.
I mean, now there's a pattern. And let's forget about 12 years ago. But if you go up to women twice within a 2-week period and verbally assault them.
Yeah.
And you're trying to go to be a city councilman, how are you going to be when somebody comes up and does a...
Here's even worse. He's got the endorsement of the fire department and the police department.
Well...
Oops. Uh-oh. Oops. Look...
I mean, why
this is worthy. This is worthy of me telling you about it because this is something. This is a woman who filed a protection order last week.
Right.
He's been served with it.
I actually didn't when the first lady and you and I both know her. It wasn't that something I said. Why didn't she do this? And it was she. And you were like, it's a route that she's choosing not to take at this time.
Right. But here's the thing: the person we're talking about ain't faint at heart.
No, she's not. She's
doesn't scare easy.
No. She doesn't scare.
And she literally called me and said, "Can you come over here or something?" And I was busy and I couldn't right then. She goes, "I'm scared." And I've never heard her in the years that we've been friends.
Right.
I've never heard her
use those words.
Shaken.
Yeah.
She's unflappable. She doesn't get shook. And she literally was scared. And then here's another woman whose husband, thank God he was home. I mean, if you can't handle people saying things about you or putting out things on Facebook, and by the way, what they put out on Facebook was true because they were putting out about this arrest report from 12 years ago that subsequently knows true now because I have a copy of it.
Right.
It's a police report filed with OPD.
Right.
He was arrested, mugshotted, fingerprinted, charged with battery.
And why don't you just address it saying, yes, this happened. I was 23. I was drunk.
Move on. We don't know if he's drunk or not. We don't know if he's drunk or not.
I make an assumption because he's
Right.
at a bar.
Right.
Okay.
But this is what happened. How many of you at 23 did something stupid that you didn't want to follow
Right.
you the rest of your life?
Right.
You know?
Just say no different than when you talk about when you've been in prison.
Right.
This
Move on.
happened. I learned from it,
Move on.
and now this is who I am.
Exactly. It was a life experience. I learned from it. Next question.
Yes.
And it would have been over.
It would have been over. But now you're attacking women
Accosting them in their own homes.
in their own homes. I hope he comes over to our house when you're home.
Somebody said, if you go on air and say that, he may get angry at you. Okay.
Okay. Can I just say one thing about the mailer that went out? Do you want to talk about the mailer?
What about it? Oh, well, and it because there was an unfortunate collateral damage from the mailer.
Yes.
Barry Mansfield's name was attached to it as well, for no reason whatsoever, except for they're using somebody. They both are using somebody to help their campaign. That's the same. That's the only reason.
The only thing I can think of is they wanted to split the cost of the mailer. And let me tell you, so I will
Well, no,
admit,
it's the mailer. The mailer went after Barry and Ty. So that's District 1, District 3. So you
Yes,
have to
but
infer
those two
the incumbents.
districts,
You have to
yes.
infer the incumbents, Jay Musley and Brent Molliver,
which is
sent that mailer out as a hit piece for both of them.
Which is why I'm saying they wanted just to split the cost.
You have to assume when it brings both District 1 and District 3 into it that there was some collusion there.
And I will openly admit I'm a personal friend of Barry Mansfield.
Barry's a good guy.
So I'm a Barry fan,
Barry's a good guy.
and he should have nothing to do with this. I mean, he is such a good.
And he's put that out on Facebook, by the way. He put it on social media. He's addressed this.
He's addressed it. He's like, look, this has nothing to do with me, yada, yada. But let me tell you just a little bit of a story about Barry Mansfield. And this was recent.
Can we do it? Can we do it after the break?
Yes, we can.
All right. We'll do it after the break. Plus Dumb Crook News. Right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. 622-9622 is the number to call if you have any comments or questions. Tom at WOCA is another way to get in touch with me. Tom at WOCA.com is another way to get in touch with me. Tom Schmitz, Susan Schmitz in studio with me. She is every Friday. We'll talk. We'll get her she'll make her point that I cut her off from before the break. Plus, we'll have Dumb Crook News to wrap up the week. You're listening to 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. This is WOCA, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
Senator Joe Manchin, the Democrat from West Virginia, is urging his Democrat colleagues to hit the pause button